2.5 years ago, we set off. I packed up my old life, moved onto a sailboat and crossed the Atlantic. And now we are here, on a river in the middle of the rainforest of French Guiana, with this feeling that this place is bigger than anything we have seen before. This episode is meant to be more than just a travel story. It's an attempt to understand how we keep reaching higher and higher, while sometimes forgetting what's happening right beneath us. I had been looking forward to visit for a long time. It's absurd that here in French Guiana, with prior registration, you can simply visit the European Spaceport. 3 hours free of charge. A bus takes us across a site so large that you quickly forget you're actually in the middle of a rainforest. The location is no coincidence. Close to the equator, a rocket needs less energy to reach space. The Earth helps with the launch. At that very moment, an Ariane 6 engine is being transported, highly explosive. For our own safety, we are not allowed to leave the bunker for a while. Filming and photography are not permitted. Later, we stand right in front of the launch pad, so close it almost feels unreal. This is where they lift off. This is where rockets are sent into space. And honestly, it feels like a childhood dream. I'm standing at a place where rockets really launch. Not in a museum, not in a movie, but right here. A very quiet, humbling moment. This is where things leave the earth, with a precision that fills me with awe. More parts of the Ariane roll past us.
What it is exactly? What do you think?
Shipped from Europe, unloaded at the port of Kourou. Years of planning, the work of thousands of people, all for that one moment when everything has to work. Because the first few minutes decide whether the mission continues or simply ends. As we leave the site, we end up driving behind a transporter for a long time, walking speed, carrying more parts of the Ariane. It feels like forever. We don't think much of it and just follow along, because Google Maps says this is the way.
Also was passiert.
And then suddenly, we are standing in front of a fenced, monitored gate. The transporter drives straight through. We don't. This is very dense for us. We turn around and feel a bit stupid for a moment. I wonder what they're thinking about us. Two overmotivated tourists, just a little too curious.
Ja, und jetzt sind wir alles zurückgefahren.
A few days later, we head in the opposite direction, away from Kourou, away from concrete and civilization, towards the Brazilian border. The road winds through the jungle. No houses, no signs, no advertising, just green. So dense you can barely see more than a few meters ahead. We park the car and continue on foot. The path is clear, only the signal is gone. And around us, a forest that existed long before us. According to the GPS, the trail should start right here, but it doesn't. There's no path, just forest. We walk a bit, look around, turn back, and slowly realize that something doesn't quite add up. Shortly after, we are back in the car. Outside, rain is pouring down, and it becomes clear that we simply parked one bend too early. Just one curve further, and we would have been exactly where we needed to be. That kind of thing happens to us more often than I would like to admit. And now we're soaked too. While we're still figuring things out, another car pulls over. They're just as convinced the trail starts here. When we tell them we didn't find anything, they don't quite believe us at first. So we wait until the worst of the rain passes and try again. This time from the right place. We are completely soaked. The rain jacket doesn't make any difference. The air is heavy. Everything sounds alive, even when it stays hidden. While we walk through this forest, rockets are being launched somewhere else, sending thousands of satellites into orbit, high above everything that lives down here. Much of this happens far away from the trail we walk on, and yet the consequences reach far beyond them. We don't have a crystal ball. No one really knows what our future will look like, not in space and not down here on Earth. I like technology. I like new ideas. The thought of vacations on the moon or people living on Mars is fascinating. And at the same time, I keep wondering what we are willing to accept in return. Because right now, I'm standing in a forest that shows how life works perfectly well without all of this, and has done so for a very long time. We drive back to Kourou once more, with a quiet sense of hope that this time it really happened, and we will finally see the VEGA-C lounge.
Und ja, ich hab gesagt.
The disappointment hits as soon as we arrive. The lounge is cancelled due to a mechanical issue.
Jetzt wissen wir nicht, was wir machen
For a moment, we don't know what to do. Driving back doesn't make sense. Sleeping in the car doesn't either. So we stay and rent a simple room just outside the city.
Meinst Tranquilo, tranquilo.
We have nothing with us. No toothbrush, no fresh clothes, not even a real plan.
Dann wär's mindestens etwas zum Schauen. Was merkst du? Das stinkt nochmal drüber. Oh, Fabi, so als Tieri mit dem Deo.
That evening, we sit outside in the garden on a small bench, drinking a beer and watching the fireflies, and slowly feel the disappointment fade. And somehow, in that moment, everything feels right. Unplanned, quiet, and surprisingly simple.
So, noch schnell aufs WC, bevor es losgeht.
That evening, we actually get a spot on the viewing platform. And then, everything happens very fast.
Ja, das ist perfekt. Spannend. Das ist immer ein Bild. Ah ja, stimmt, wir haben einen Post von der Kleber.
The ground doesn't vibrate. The sound of the engines isn't that loud, but heavy. For a brief moment, I get goosebumps.
Ich habe die Tür noch auf.
And then it's gone, swallowed by the clouds.
On la voit qui est larguée.
On the drive back, everything suddenly feels wrong. Too fast, too much. I think about the debris up there, old satellites, rocket stages, things we send into space and leave it behind. You don't see them, but they are there. Some of it is supposed to burn up eventually, but that doesn't mean it disappears. Some of it falls back, deliberately into the oceans we call empty, because we don't see them. But they were never empty, and we have been there ourselves. In 2025, there were 330 orbital launches worldwide. This is no longer an exception. It's the new normal. A large share of these launches now comes from just a few players. SpaceX alone flew 165 missions that year. And there's no single number when it comes to emissions. Every rocket is different. But for kerosene-fueled launches, emissions can quickly reach several hundred tons of CO2 per flight. And researchers are no longer looking at CO2 alone. They are also studying particles and exhaust released at high altitudes, where even small amounts can have a large impact. For a long time, spaceflights was about being first. Later it became useful. Today it's no longer about single launches, but about thousands. More satellites, more rockets. Much of it sounds like the future. And yet the question remains, how much of this can the Earth handle? Because what goes up doesn't simply disappear. Maybe we have become very good at making things possible, but not yet as good at thinking through their consequences. Back in Switzerland, I tried to bring all of this together. I didn't find any clear answer. Spaceflight isn't evil, neither is progress. But enthusiasm without questioning is dangerous. Maybe it's not about wanting less, but about choosing more consciously what we're willing to accept. We leave French Guiana on board of our small home. Ahead of us lies the coast of Suriname, Guyana and Venezuela, a region considered difficult and not without risk. Once again, it's a journey into the unknown, a departure without knowing exactly what lies ahead. And as the land slowly fades behind us, something inside me feels different.